And here's our handout. So it says these are all rules for negative numbers. So we're only doing operations here with negative numbers. And so the first rule is talking about addition. And it says when the signs of the numbers are the same and you're adding them, you go ahead and add the numbers. See if I can write the word add here. So we add the numbers and keep the negative sign. You can write the word negative if you can fit it. So I have an example here of, let's say, -6 plus -4. And when you add a negative number and another negative number, you're just going to end up with a bigger negative number. So, and that just goes back to relating it to money. So if you think of a negative number as somebody owing you money, Susie owes me $6, so that's -6. And Susie also owes Johnny $4, so she also has -4. So Susie in total has -$10. That's how much money she has. She doesn't actually have any money. She owes $10, so she has -10. Rule number 2, when the signs are different, then you're going to subtract and use the sign of the larger number. So subtract, and then your answer is going to end up with being whatever the other number is, the larger number is. So I have a couple examples of that. So we have -6. Oh, I'm sorry. That's supposed to be a positive number. So +6 plus -4. So obviously the 6 is bigger and that's positive, so we're going to end up with a positive answer here. And you can think of this as saying, okay, I have $6, but I owe Tyree $4. So in actuality, I only have $2. After I pay Tyree back, I'm only going to have $2 left. The other way to write this would be putting the -4 first. It's going to be the same. -4 plus 6. It's the exact same problem. I've just rearranged the order in which I wrote it. It's the same thing. I owe Tyree $4, but I have $6 in my pocket, which means in actuality I only have $2 to my name. Subtraction rules. So this is when you're subtracting negative numbers, which gets a little bit confusing for some people. The rule says change the sign of the second number and then add using the addition rules from above. So let's do an example of that. Let's say I have -6, and then I want to take away -4. So -6 minus -4. So whenever you see this double negative thing here, basically that's just going to turn into a giant plus sign. And so now we're going to use the addition rules from above, just like before, because we have a -6 plus 4. And so that's going to work out to be the bigger number is the negative number, which is the -6. So we're going to have a negative answer, and it's bigger by 2. So we have -2 here. Okay, so let me pause this real quick. Okay, so we're going to fill out the multiplication rules now, and we're going to fill in the blanks here. So in order to get a positive answer, we have two options. We could do a positive number times a positive number, like 2 times 3, that gives me 6, positive 6. Or to get a positive answer, we could also do a negative number times another negative number, like -2 times -3, the two negatives multiplied to give me a positive 6 answer. If we want to end up with a negative answer for our multiplication problem, then only one of our things that we're multiplying can be negative. So we could do a negative number times a positive number, and that would give me a negative answer. Or I could do a positive number times a negative number, and that would give me a negative answer. So for example, here we could say -3 times 2, that would give me -6. Or I could say 3 times -2, and that would still give me -6. And then division is the last thing here. A positive number divided by a positive number is going to give you a positive answer. A negative divided by a negative, just like when you're multiplying, the negatives kind of cancel each other out and they give you a positive answer as well. And just like when you're multiplying, if you only have one negative and the other one is positive, then you're going to end up with a negative answer. So whether it's a positive divided by a negative or a negative divided by a positive, you're going to end up with a negative answer. Okay. Okay, today we're going to be talking about negative numbers. So if you would turn in your notebook and title the page Negative Numbers, and also put today's date in the upper right-hand corner. We should already have our notes on order of operations on the previous page. So I know a lot of you already know how to deal with negative numbers, and of course you can always put them into your calculator, but it's important to understand what they mean and kind of be able to do some operations also in your head sometimes. So let's write the definition of a negative number. A negative number is something that represents the loss of something or the absence of something. For example, you could say, Susie owes me $5. And so you could represent that by saying that she has negative $5 because she owes $5 to someone. So she's in the negative. It can also mean the opposite of. You can say the opposite of $5. She has the opposite of $5, which would be a negative $5. So negative numbers, if you think of the number line, we have 0. Negative numbers are the ones on the left. And positive numbers are the ones on the right of the 0. And the further you go to the right, the bigger your value gets. And the further you move to the left on the number line, the smaller the value gets, which is sometimes confusing because the numbers actually get bigger. For example, we have negative 10 here, and if we kept going further to the left, we'd have negative 20, negative 30, and so on. So the numbers get bigger, but the actual value of the numbers gets smaller. So that's an important distinction to make. Okay, so you should have a little handout, which we're going to end up gluing into your notebook. So let's work on filling that out real quick. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about today is the difference between subtraction and a minus sign. So sometimes people get confused, especially in the calculator. In your calculator, the subtraction key and the negative key are two different buttons. For example, if you're writing 6 minus 4 in your calculator, you would use the operation key on the right. But if you're writing 6 plus negative 4 in your calculator, you would actually, here, to type the negative 4, you would use the button that looks like this. Oops, the button that looks like this, and that's the negative key. These are really the same thing. 6 minus 4 is really just a shorthand version of writing 6 plus negative 4. So these answers are going to be exactly the same. And you just have to be careful about how you type things in your calculator because your calculator distinguishes the difference between subtraction as an operation and the negative number, the negative sign in front of a number. So just be aware of that there are two different buttons on your calculator, but essentially they mean the same thing mathematically. All right, that is it for your notes today.